A few years ago, I got tired of telling people the same thing over and over again. You don't have a knowledge problem, you have an experience problem. And no certification, no course, no YouTube video is going to fix it. So I built something else, a real project management office for people who've never been a PM or who don't have a PM job and who can't seem to break into the industry no matter what they try. Today, I'll show you how it works and why it produces results that no PMP prep course is ever going to match. Some quick context for you guys. I've been an IT project manager for over 8+ years. I've worked remotely from Mexico, Colombia, Peru, and Argentina, and many other countries. And I've helped over 100 people break into project management, most of them after years of being stuck in the cycle of certifications, courses, and rejection. That's the real reason I built the Live PMO. For years, I tried to help people through the conventional channels, recommending books, pointing them towards PMP prep, told them YouTube channels to watch and follow, and none of it worked. Or it worked for maybe 1 or 2 people out of every 20. So I started paying attention to what was actually different about the ones who actually broke through. And it wasn't more knowledge, it wasn't a better certification. It was that somehow, in some way, they got their hands on real project work before they actually got the title. Almost every successful career changer I've worked with had something that resembled an apprenticeship, either a generous boss who gave them a stretch work assignment or a side project that they ran themselves, or a moment in their career where someone just dropped a real project on their desk and said, hey, figure it out. That experience was the thing. These certifications were the window dressings. So I built a place where that experience can happen on purpose, intentionally, not by accident. Now here's the gap the entire PM education industry refuses to fix. Almost every product in the space teaches you about project management. Books, courses, certifications, videos, boot camps, they all just sell information, but the people they're selling to don't have an information deficit. They have an experience deficit. You can read every book on project management ever written and still walk into a hiring manager's office unable to describe a real project that you've run. Yes, you can pass the PMP and still freeze when an executive asks you a hard question in your first interview. You can memorize every framework on every slide and still have nothing concrete to put on your resume. That's not because the books are bad or the certifications are useless. It's because they're solving a problem that isn't actually the problem. The problem is that real project management work is something that you have to do under pressure with stakeholders, with real consequences. And until you've done it, you can't talk about it. Until you can talk about it, hiring managers don't believe you can do it. That's the loop. And the industry, the existing industry, is structurally incapable of breaking it because the moment they break it, they stop selling courses. So I actually built the exact opposite. The Live PMO isn't a course, there's no curriculum to read through, there's no certification at the end, there's no exam. What it is a structured project management training environment where every member runs a full project simulation from kickoff to closeout, defends their decisions live in front of a group, and walks out with a portfolio of real deliverables they built themselves. It's modeled on how actual corporate PMOs operate today. So people join, they go through the training, and when they are ready, they pick up project simulation. Then they spend the next 27 days managing it through 4 formal phase gates: initiation, planning, execution, and closure. Every 6 days or so, they hit a gate, and in order to advance, they have to prepare the right deliverable for that phase, schedule a live presentation inside the PMO, defend their work in front of other members and a senior PM, and get approval to move to the next phase of the project. That's the loop, and it's structurally different from anything else in this space for reasons I'll explain in a minute. So each phase gate forces a different scale. Initiation forces you to scope a project and identify stakeholders and write a charter under pressure. Planning forces you to build a real schedule, a RAID log, a resource plan. Execution forces you to handle the situations that come up in real project environments like vendor delays, scope creep, stakeholder conflicts, and report them through a steering committee update. Closure forces you to write out the closure report, capture lessons learned, and make an honest assessment of what went well and what didn't. Across those 27 days, you're not just preparing artifacts, you're making real PM decisions. Stakeholders come to you with a request, scope shifts, risks surface, sponsors change their priorities, and you as a PM have to decide what to do and live with the consequences once you've made those decisions. By the time you finish a full simulation, you don't have a completed course. What you have is a stack of phase gate deliverables that you built and presented, decisions you made and defended, and a portfolio that reflects the actual shape of project management, not a flat collection of memorized framework. That's the thing that I built, because for years I watched courses fail to fix the actual problem and I got tired of watching. Now let me walk you through the different elements within our live PMO. So the first element is that you don't walk in cold, right? When you join the PMO, the first thing you do is go through a structured training program. The training covers the fundamentals, like what a real PMO operation looks like, what each phase gate requires, how the deliverables get built, how the live presentations work, and what the standards are inside of our PMO. This isn't a month-long curriculum. It's the minimum context that you need to walk in informed and confident. You're not getting tossed into a simulation on day one. You're getting prepared first the way an actual new hire would be prepared in a real organization. The training also includes templates for every phase gate deliverable that you'll need, like charters and plans and raid logs, steering committee updates, closeout reports. So you don't have to figure anything out from scratch. You start with the same templates that senior PMs actually use, and you spend your time learning to fill them in well, not formatting them from a blank page. By the end of the training, you're ready to pick your first simulation and actually run it. And so that kind of leads us to our second element inside of our PMO, which is the simulations themselves. So once you're ready to pick a project simulation from the available options, each one is a full project with a defined scope, a sponsor, stakeholders, a budget, and the kind of complications that show up in real PM work. You manage that for 27 days, and across those 27 days, you make real decisions. Stakeholders come to you with requests, vendors miss deadlines, sponsors change their priorities, new risks surface, scope creep happens, and you decide what to do in the simulation. And the simulation responds based on the choices that you've made. So this isn't just like a multiple choice exercise. It's not a one-day case study. It's a 27-day arc where the consequences of your week 1 decisions show up in week 3, where the stakeholders you ignored in week 2 become the problem in week 4, where every choice compounds into the project you eventually deliver, or you don't. So by the end of the 27 days, you've run a full complete project from kickoff to closure with all the decisions, all the artifacts, all the consequences that come with it. Now, the third element of our live PMO is the structure that holds the entire simulations together. So every 6 days or so in your simulation, you hit a formal phase gate. There are 4 phase gates in total across those 27 days. Phase gate 1 is initiation around day 6. Your job is to prepare a project charter, scope, objectives, stakeholders, success criteria, and present that in front of our PMO for approval to move into planning. You can't move into planning until your charter is actually approved. Phase gate 2 is planning, and that occurs around day 12. You deliver the project plan, a real schedule with work streams, a raid log, a resource plan, a budget structure. Same drill, you present it, you defend it, and if it holds up, you move to execution. If it doesn't, then you rework it. Phase gate 3 is all about execution, and so that occurs around day 18 or day 20, depending on the simulation. By this point, you've been managing the simulation actively for over 2 weeks. Things have gone wrong, risks have materialized, scope has shifted. So you produce a steering committee update, the document a real PM puts in front of executive sponsors that reports on the actual progress, surfaces issues, and proposes decisions that need to be made. You present it, you defend it, and then phase gate 4 is closure around day 20, which occurs around day 22, day 23 of the simulation. You write a closeout report, final budget, final timeline, lessons learned, an honest assessment of what went well and what didn't. You present that too, and each gate is pressure tested. If you can't make the case for advancing, then you don't advance. If you can, then you do, and your project does as well. By the time you've cleared all 4 phases, you've produced real deliverables, made 4 real defenses of your actual work, and built a portfolio that actually reflects the shape of project management. Now, element 4 inside of our live PMO is the part that makes the rest of it work, because you don't just submit your phase gate deliverables in writing, you actually schedule a live presentation inside the PMO and defend them in front of other members and a senior PM. That sounds intimidating because it is. It's also exactly what you'll be doing exactly on the job when you're working as a PM in corporate. You're gonna walk into a room, present a status, take questions, defend the decisions that you've made, and adjust when you're challenged, or hold the line when you're right. That skill is the part nobody can teach you in a video. You can read about how to handle a steering committee. You can also watch someone else do it, but until you stand up in front of a group of stakeholders, defending a project plan that you've built, taking real questions, answering them in real time, holding your composure when somebody pushes back, you don't actually have the skill. The live presentation is the closest thing to a real PM moment that exists outside an actual PM job. And it's where the biggest skill job happens for the people who actually go through it. If your charter is weak, somebody tells you. If your plan has gaps, somebody can find them. If your steer update buries the lead, somebody catches it. You take the feedback, fix the work, and move forward. That's the loop. And it's a part of the PMO that no course, no video, no certification has ever produced, because giving real-time feedback on real decisions in real presentations doesn't scale the way a recorded video does. You have to actually build the room, and then you have to actually run it. I built that room. I run that room. One quick example of how this actually plays out in the real world: a woman joined the PMO last year. She spent 4 years as an operations analyst, taking her PMP twice, and applied for roughly 30 PM roles with no callbacks. She was about to give up on the whole career change. She went through the training, she picked her simulation, a software rollout with a tight timeline, and an executive sponsor she had to manage very carefully. By her initiation gate at day 6, she'd written a full project charter and defended it live in front of the PMO. Yeah, she got a few things wrong. She got pushed on her stakeholder analysis, but then she went back, she fixed it, she moved forward, and by day 12, she was presenting a project plan, and by day 20, she was running a steering committee update on a project that had gone slightly sideways, and explaining how she planned to recover, and by day 27, actually closing out the simulation successfully, capturing her lessons learned, and she walked away with 4 real phase gate deliverables and 4 live presentation experiences under her belt. She started applying again, and the first interview that she landed, the hiring manager asked her to walk through a recent project, and she did. She talked about the scope, the stakeholders, the recovery plan that she built when execution went sideways, and what she'd do differently next time. The hiring manager asked what company that was at, and she told them the truth. It was a structured PMO simulation, not a paid job. He hired her anyway because the work was real, the decisions were real, the pressure of defending them in front of a live room was real. And you can now feel the difference between someone reading from theory and someone actually describing something they had actually done. That is the difference. That's why the live PMO exists. So if you've been stuck for years, if courses haven't worked, if certifications haven't worked, if every attempt to break into PM has hit the same wall, the live PMO is the thing I'd point you to. It's not for everyone. It's a real time commitment. You actually have to run a simulation and build deliverables and stand up in front of the group to defend your work. It's not like a buy it or watch it type of product. But if you're willing to do that, if you're willing to put in the work and you want 27 days of structured PM experience, that actually counts when you walk into an interview, and that actually changes your DNA because you've actually done something now. There's a link in the description below to our live PMO where you can get access and start gaining real IT project management experience right now. If nothing else, I ask you to comment down below with any questions you might have. I'll read all the comments below, and if nothing else, I will see you on the next one.